What's up happening? Just wanted to throw out a little warning that this episode is a little more vulgar than usual. We get into a lot of sexual discussions that may not be for the faint of heart. I know we have a younger audience, and just wanted to throw out a little warning. Warning! Sexual stuff incoming. A whole lot of it. All right? Enjoy yourselves. It's a great episode. Have a good night. Bye. I'm out of here. Welcome to another episode of Pride-Isimo Podcast.
It's my podcast.
My name is Gerardo Larcon.
My name is Dominic Angel.
And I'm Ryan Reyes.
And today I would like to just start by saying hello. And if you haven't already, please go visit our Patreon. For $2 a month, you get an episode every week. Why do I say episode like that every time? You get an extra episode every week. For $5 a month, you become a part of our Discord, Yorolanda. And for $20 a month, you become a producer of the podcast. And you get a shout out just like this. Nat Milo, Alex Knotts, Alex Zemil, Amanda Oliveira, Amanda Pinedo, Angie Mora, Aparni Rani, Chacaron, Christian Alvarado, David Cerato, DJ Moon, Eddie Bravo, Fantastic Fat Man, Gabby Ferris, Hector Cruz, Ian Anderson, Imperium Sloth, Isai Facio, Izzy Sandoval, Jared Dean, Kareem, Cassandra Murrow, Laisha Ashley, Daria, Michael Zuniga, My Little Jabroni, Nia Town, Osvaldo Silva. Very interesting name. Isn't that like The Watchmen or something? Answer it when I finish. Pedro, Rafael Flores, Rosa Alarcon. What's up, mom? Rosie Flores, Rowan Está Muerto, accepting thoughts and prayers. Serena, Susana Guzman, Susana Priego, and Zialtino. Do yourself a favor and check out our Patreon. Oh, man. I guess I had to start the episode out of breath every time.
What was that Thoughts and Prayers one?
Rowan Está Muerto. You don't speak Spanish?
Oh, okay. Because I was like, imagine.
I thought it was all one name. Rowan Está Muerto.
I thought that was
Thoughts
part
and
of it. Like, if
Prayers. I was like, how did he
someone
have
thought
all
they
that?
were paying for an obituary and they were just on the wrong fucking website.
It's because you used to just say R.I.P.
Oh, yeah, R.I.P. or something like that. I'm trying to change it up. I'm going through a lot right now because Nicholas Moreno is nowhere to be seen.
Damn.
Dude.
Calzone.
Somebody ate the calzone, dog. Nobody laughed. That's like, it hurts even more. Nobody laughed.
And Eduardo all day has been like doing these sleeper jokes where it's like you have to think about them for 5 seconds to understand them, and he gets upset when we don't laugh. But
Yeah.
they're all very funny when I realize it, but the moment has passed.
I'm going like lightheaded because nobody's laughing.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know what any of those words meant.
Okay,
Like,
so
I don't
Nicholas
know-
Moreno, he messaged us. He was a Jarito before. We missed you, by the way. He messaged us saying, my nickname is Calzone. And I don't know if it bugged him that we said his name and AKA Calzone the whole time. But like people ask me to change their names all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to keep up. You know, like I do like 4 already where people are like, don't say that name because like I don't like my name that way. Like my name is Gerardo if I wanted to be called Jerry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
But what was funny about Calzone was that when he joined the Discord, he was like, guess why they call me Calzone? And we were like, why? And he goes, because I like calzones.
That's funny.
But let's go ahead and give our guest a proper introduction.
Oh,
if
right,
you want to
right.
go for it, dude. Do you want to do it or you want me to do it?
I think you have a good
Jesus
good
fucking
energy.
Christ. Okay,
you want
give
me to do it? Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. This
And then I
our-
jump in. I was like,
Ryan does it. Like the Temptations. He's like, yes.
Well, we met this episode's guest in Covina doing comedy at the Chatterbox, and I'm always intimidated whenever he's on stage.
Yes.
Because I'll go up and say something that I think is really funny, and then it doesn't hit. And anytime this guy goes on stage, he fucking crushes.
I gotta say, it's like I don't know if you guys are basketball fans, but Carmelo Anthony, he has different phases like hoodie Carmelo, beanie Carmelo,
Oh, yeah.
long hair Carmelo. When Jonathan Rowell has his glasses on, I'm like, this fool's gonna fucking crush right now. Right? Or
With my glasses on?
Yes. Whenever you do
Also-
comedy at the Chatterbox with your glasses on, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah,
It's because you can't see my eyes, so I look like a sociopath.
yeah, the light shines in when you get those streaks that cover like
Yeah.
your actual like eyeballs, and it's
Yeah.
like holy
And
shit.
next thing you know,
this fool-
Steve's hitting the gong. But let's go ahead and give it up right now for our guest,
John.
We've been saying Nicholas Moreno so much. I was gonna say Nicholas Moreno right now, dude.
Calzone.
Jonathan Cerda-Rowell. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh,
Chilling.
Chilling.
Yeah.
We already talked about. I feel like we already had a bunch of good shit that we just didn't record.
I know.
There was dad dick stuff. I'm gonna catch all the listeners up.
Yeah.
There was dad dick stuff. I won't say whose dad's dick. There was Bush stuff.
Yeah.
What else was there? Oh, there was jacking off in Barnes and Noble stuff. There was the tit from 40-Year-Old Virgin. There was erotica stuff.
Yes.
There was lots of stuff already.
Yeah, there was so
sex for the listeners.
Oh yeah. We were saying how nice the titty was in 40-Year-Old Virgin. I was, at least. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. Because, well, the story was that when I went to go see it for the first time, some guy came in right before the scene of the speed dating and was jerking it the whole time during that scene when her titty popped out. And then as soon as that scene was over, he left, and I was like left to ponder what just happened.
I'm gay, and like I obviously, but I don't like the sound of people jerking off. Like I used to have a boyfriend who his genitals made a lot of noise when he would jerk off. And I remember I was eating like a quesadilla one day and we were watching TV and he was like jerking off, which is fine. And I just like turned around and I was like, can you not? Because it was so gross to have the cheese in my mouth and then like hear his like, hear like, I was just like, oh God, stop, dude. Like, I was like, I'm not in the space. I'm like hungry right now.
Yeah.
I don't need like your,
Disgusting.
And he had a very specific sound. It was like, a bunch of, it was like a bag of meat, but like there was some air in it. That's kind of like how I could describe it.
Was it like those, those water toys that were just like, it was like a tube just filled with like liquid.
Oh, and it looked like a big silicone dick.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like something that you look like you could jerk off into.
Yeah.
But it would make that sound like.
Yeah, but it had like it had a hollow ring to it too. Like one of his balls was hollow or something. Like it was just an unsettling sound, you know.
Did you ever like tap him like a watermelon to see like which one was hollow?
Which one's hollow? Oh, yeah, and that's the one I cut into because that's the good one.
There's the juiciest, right?
Yeah,
I remember when I first got sober, I was like attaching myself to other things. So like I wanted to have sex a lot, right? Which was a contentious point with me and my ex-girlfriend at the time. My girlfriend at the time, my ex now. Like imagine I'm hitting on my ex-girlfriend for sex because I got sober. Anyways, not funny, I guess. Sleeper jokes.
It just seems like it's something that maybe you would do.
I know, right? Yeah. Wait, what?
I
Me
would.
specifically? Okay, you gotcha. But so with my girlfriend at the time, I was like the horniest person that's ever lived, right? Because I was like trying to fill the fucking God-shaped hole inside of my heart,
Right.
with my penis, I guess. But the
Trying to fuck the hole in your
yeah. So what I would do was like wait till she went to sleep and then go to her restroom, and she'd be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I have to get it out." You know what I mean? And then so I would go to the restroom and rub it out, as they say. You guys jerking it? I would never say that, dude.
Rub it out very gently like a cat.
Yeah, rub it out like a.
Is that how it sounds when it?
Yeah, it sounds like it's like. Yeah, dude.
See, I would have been cool with that.
But yeah, I was like, I had like these two minds going on, right? Like the horniest fucking person of all time. At the same time, like, what am I doing? Like, just going in here and jerking it, like, right? Do you guys understand what I'm saying or no?
No, I think that's fine. Do
Yeah?
what you got to do.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Especially after being in like trapped with the same person for 2 years in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Who I love. But it's like sometimes you just gotta like. You gotta look at something else, and you gotta jerk it, and you gotta have like a silent, sad orgasm, like in the corner, you know. Because sometimes the silent ones are the best, but they're the best because you can't scream or anything.
Yeah.
You're just like in the corner, just like a
Taking care of business.
Yeah, taking care of business.
Yeah.
So she
funny.
hated that. She hated you jacking off in the bathroom.
No, I don't think we ever talked about it.
Okay.
I think it was more of an internal thing.
Yeah.
Like when you first get sober, you're starting to realize like obviously your answer for a lot of things was just getting fucked up.
Yeah.
Or trying to get fucked in a way. Which I think it evolves into like, okay, what else am I going to fill my time with kind of thing.
Right.
But for me, I started to notice when I got sober that I'm always at odds with myself. Maybe it's whatever fucking how I was raised or whatever that is.
Yeah.
That I'm always questioning whether what I'm doing is right. But I never felt good about just like going into a restroom and beating off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I always felt great about that. Like, I would, even at open mics for comedy, if I needed to go in one of the restrooms and just let the edge out, it calms my anxiety. You know what I mean?
I could see that. You can't do that at Chatterbox anymore unless you're feeling adventurous.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, they got rid of that old stall.
It's so annoying to me that the fucking stall wall is gone.
You know what's more annoying? That the men's restroom doesn't have a mirror. It's like, we care how we look too.
Yeah.
Like, so whenever I'm cleaning the women's restroom, they have like a big ass mirror. And I just take the opportunity to look at myself. Sometimes I just want to go to the bathroom and look at myself. Is that weird?
No.
Yeah.
It's so weird. No, because it's like I when I moved into my new place, I don't have a mirror. Like, there's all the mirrors there are like this big. So I never, and it wasn't until like a woman, like, because I do photography. So like a model came to like take pictures, and they were like, do you have a full length mirror here? And it was so embarrassing to be like, no, like we don't. Like, because it's just a bunch of dudes that live here.
You should have made her feel bad about it. You were like, no, we're not vain like you. Fucking bitch.
I know.
That's how you say face.
But after that, I like made sure that we went and got a mirror so that we could have it. But now because the thing is too, is that I actually care about what I look like, but I think it's because I put on weight that I stopped like caring, because I'm like, I'm not going to look as good as I want because I have my own issues with like body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't really pay attention. Like, all I care about is this, because it's like, this is the best thing I got going for me right now.
Yeah.
You do got a good face.
Thank you.
But you're carrying the weight well, I do have to say.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I do my best. I try. But then as soon as I take my shirt off, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
What were you at your heaviest? Because we spoke about this before.
Oh, yeah. No, I was heavy just 6 months ago. I was 250.
Oh, shit.
And now I'm 200 pounds. A little over 204.
Okay, yeah.
So hopefully my goal was by my 30th, which is in 2 weeks, to be at 200, which I will be. So
like me, I went to Cancun.
Yeah.
And something about the flight to Cancun, I was like, dude, I feel heavy as shit, dude.
Yeah.
Right? And then in Cancun,
the airplane couldn't hold you. This Mexican airplane.
No, I really like felt like I say like as a just I'm talking, but like something happened when I landed in Cancun where I'm like, I'm fat as fuck, dude. I just felt fucking fat
because you saw starving kids and you're like, oh wow.
No. I know why I felt fat, because my sister bought me a bunch of clothes and she bought me 2XL shirts, and I was like, excuse me, I'm an XL guy. You know what I'm saying? It's just
you're like, this is part of my identity. Yeah.
And then when I tried the shirts on, they didn't fit, and I was like, oh, Mr. 2XL's knocking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm wearing all these XL shirts. My girlfriend. I say this all the time. I say my sister and my girlfriend mixed up, right?
Yeah.
My sister.
Yikes.
Yes, I know. It's crazy.
It's really funny.
Yeah, I do it so much, honestly, like for months now. But my sister's like laughing.
But also the thing that is funny is that you could just continue the story most of the time, and we wouldn't know the difference.
But it's gotten to the point now where that's like the 100th time I've done that. Dude.
Yeah.
And so I address it, and then Ryan's, you know. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the XL shirts fit me large, and then our flight got delayed from Cancun to Tijuana back to LA. Yeah. So we had to stay a night in Mexico City. So we flew to Mexico City.
Yeah.
And they had a fucking scale in that hotel, and I weighed myself, dude, 242 pounds, the heaviest I've ever weighed in my life.
Whoa.
Yes.
Damn. And how tall are you?
I am 6'3".
Oh, so that's not that bad. The weight, that's not that heavy.
No, I think I'm 5'9" or 5'10". Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You're 5'10" because you're taller than me.
What the fuck, dude? I say 5'10" and people are like, no, you're not.
Well, that's the thing is like I used to get upset because I'm like, this fool does not look like he's 5'10".
Yeah.
Like your proportions are like you're a shorter person.
Well, okay, fuck you.
But I'm like, I can't believe this fool's taller than me.
Yeah.
Because I'm 5'9".
Okay.
Yeah.
How tall are you, Ryan?
5'8".
5'8".
He has a joke about it.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're 5'7" and 8.5 or something.
And 8.5.
No, I wrote this joke about how my doctor like bullied me about being fat. Like I would go in and be like, "Hey, can you prescribe something for sleep? I think I have insomnia." And he would go, "Don't you mean apnea?"
Yeah.
Oh my god, this guy's savage.
And the joke ends with me talking about my height because I used to be self-conscious about my height because I was always the shortest kid in school until I hit my growth spurt.
Yeah.
And the last time in high school that I got measured, he said 5'7" and 7/8. And I was like, couldn't you just call it 5'8"? And he's like, well, you would be 5'8", but you're so heavy that you're stopping yourself from growing.
Oh my God.
But that's the joke. He didn't actually say that. But that's always like been my favorite fat joke. The first time I heard it was honestly an old sitcom. I think it was The Nanny. But she walks in and she's like, hey Ma, how is the doctors? And he's like, oh, he said, according to my BMI, I'm supposed to be 7 foot tall. That was my favorite. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Got you. Imagine being 7 foot tall, dude. Shit, I'm okay.
As long as your dick is proportional, because I once dated a guy who was 6'6", and he had like the most average dick, which was cool. But on a 6'6" guy, I was like, when you stand up, like when it's in my mouth, it's fine. But like when you stand up, I'm like, damn, it just doesn't look great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever.
I could understand that.
Yeah.
What's his name? I think Quentin Thomas has a joke like that.
Oh yeah, he's always like, my dick's little or whatever.
Yeah. Well, his dick is
I'm kidding. I don't know that. I don't even know who you're talking about. I'm being mean.
He was just in my apartment yesterday.
Did you ask him about his dick size?
We always talk about it. What were you saying? Just kidding.
No, he has a joke. I think it was pretty much the same thing he just said about how he's like, he has an average. He's average, but on him it looks really small because he's like 6 foot something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a lot of dick talk.
Yeah, I mean that's what you get when you have Jonathan on the show.
Month.
It's Pride Month.
Yeah.
Is that? Oh no, it's not called. It's called Pride Month. I was gonna make a joke called Dick Month or something. But
we don't care about anyone else besides the G in the LGBTQ. Okay? So that's no.
Is there beef between letters?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. No, because it's like everyone has like a different like plight or privilege scale thing. You know, like gay guys dominate the culture of, so like everyone's like jealous of us. It sounds bad, but it is true. But I mean, they should be, because it is kind of unfair. But then like lesbians, they have it the easiest in terms of like people accepting them, because like people are cooler with lesbians than like everyone else, you know?
Yeah. Right.
And then like bisexuals are like constantly like
having to prove themselves,
prove that they exist, you know, and that they should like, you know, that they should be there. And trans people are just like getting murdered. So they're pretty mad.
But, when I picture like the B and LGBTQ, I picture like a cigarette between the two humps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just like the fucking partiers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They are the coolest. And I think maybe that's why people are like, yeah, you don't exist or whatever. I don't know. Like, because they're the coolest. But, and then there's like what the Q, which I guess is like non-binary people, and I don't really know what's going on with them, but I support it. You know?
Yeah, the QIA plus.
The intersex, we don't really talk about the intersex, and those are the people with like the vagina and the dick that are born. That seems rough. They deserve to be mad that they're not talked about more. And then the asexuals are just like the coolest, probably because they're cooler than the bisexuals, because the asexuals are like, we don't care about sex, and so we're gonna do other things, right?
Yeah. They're gonna succeed in life.
Yeah.
I wonder if in the future, if people are gonna teach like the history of like the word trans, you know?
Yeah.
Because growing up, I don't know. There's obviously tranny, which is a terrible word.
That's what everyone, even on Drag Race, they called it like tranny male or something, like when they would like get like a new thing for the, you know, whatever challenge, you know, and they had to stop doing it because like even in like old school like queer culture, the transsexual people would call themselves trannies as like endearing, you know. So
yeah, transsexual, right? I got in trouble for saying it on stage by a transgender or trans person, right? And
you got in trouble for saying transsexual?
Yeah, you know, like the joke was about my favorite part of Godfather 3 was when Michael was transsexual, and he's like, just when I get out, I see that dress, it pulls me back in, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then Robin was like, hey, you know, it's transgender, you know, and then I changed it to transgender, and then now it's trans person, right? Or wrong?
Honestly, you're blowing my mind. Honestly, I didn't know that it was transgendered. I thought it was transsexual. But see, this is why people don't like the G in the LGBTQ. Because I'm like, I don't know. I try to keep up, but
well, I think it's the same as like I mean, I don't, not to compare plights or whatever, but like the best way that I could understand it is about how like we're all Latino men, and then like speaking about the plights of like Mexicans and Latinos. But then there's like all of this added like stuff when it comes to like Latinas or like queer, you know, where they have all their shit that I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about any of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I try to like keep up on it, but like, I don't know, whatever you want me to call you, I'll call you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I used to, when I was younger, I used to work at my uncle's shop, Car King. My uncle Jorge, he's been on the show. And, I was helping this guy Sergio out.
He's the super funny one, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes, okay,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the Matt Damon one. I showed you the clip. What's it called? But shout out Jorge. He's probably watching. He's probably like, you guys are nasty, fool. Stop my dick. Yeah. What's it called? But I was working with this guy Sergio, and he was screwing a transmission, and then a bolt flew off and hit me in the eye, and I have like this dot on my eye, right? And so I would go to people. I was very young. And I'll be like, ask me what happened to my eye, fool. And then they'll be like, what happened to your eye? I'll be like, I was screwing a tranny and they busted a nut in my eye, fool. Is that bad?
No, I mean, it could. Well, yeah, it probably is bad.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, where's the lie, fool? You know
but
what I mean?
it could happen.
Yeah, it can. It can happen. Yeah.
That's fucking stupid.
This is our Pride Month episode.
Yeah, it was a different time. It was like the early 2000s, you know?
Yeah. So when like comedy started opening back up, and like we started going to, there was a thing when things where like a bunch of straight guys came, and I'm part of this because you were at one of the open mics where I told this story, but there was like a wave of like straight dudes talking about like, oh, they've discovered they're bisexual, or like that they're like had like a queer or gay experience.
Yeah.
Was that annoying to you?
Yeah. Well, because if you are bisexual, because like if you are bisexual, cool. But I felt like a lot of those guys were not actually bisexual, because some of their stand up was like, I jerked off with another dude at camp, and it's like, I've fucked women. I'm not straight, you know what I mean? But I mean, if you, whatever, it was still annoying. I don't care even if you were bi, it was still annoying because I couldn't tell, you know? And I'm also friends with Steve Hernandez, who's like actually bi, and he's like, I've probably sucked 52 dicks in my life. I'm like, okay, you're bi, you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
I can respect that. But yeah, it was just, you know, annoying.
That's a lot of dicks.
It's really not though. No, that's like amateur hour. I
haven't had sex with 52 women.
But queer men are different.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have more sex.
Yeah.
That's just,
well, there was a whole thing, like I've heard, because Steve has like a lot of queer people on his podcasts.
Yeah.
And one of them, multiple podcasts. One of them, I forgot who it was, but he was gay, and he was saying like, yeah, like gay men are gay, but they're also still men. So like all they like, we still kind of think similarly in terms of like hooking up and stuff. And
that's why there's more diseases in the gay male world, because we just have more sex, so there's more chances for diseases. Like if you guys had like sex with women at the rate that I have sex with men, you guys would also have like be riddled with, you know, diseases like me.
Damn.
But
I'm just like silently roasting everything. That's not gonna happen.
But that's so funny, because it's like a big part of like being a straight man is like how fucking manly you are and how much sex you have, and it's like and like hating on gay men for being gay, but then it's like, no, they're fucking all the time. Like you would be embarrassed if you compared yourself.
yeah.
Straight men are kind of annoying as fuck. And I say that as a straight man, right?
It's still annoying when straight men say that about themselves for some reason. I don't know why that's so fucking irritating.
Well, what I'm more commenting on is like a woman enters a room and like the backs get straightened up and they're like, you know, trying to
yeah.
That kind of stuff has always been like not distasteful, but what is the word, like
competitive,
gross to me, you know?
Okay.
Are you roasting me still in your head or what? What? Say it.
No.
Say it, bitch.
You gotta say it.
Yeah.
I can't. I had a brain for it because I laughed so hard.
Man.
I'm sorry.
But that's a thing that I notice. It happens everywhere, but like I primarily go to Chatterbox, but it's like there's like waves of when like new women will show up to do comedy.
Yeah.
And like it's fucking it's gross to see like all of the straight dude comics like fucking like pin them to a corner almost and like what's your story? Like
Yeah.
it's fucking weird.
All of a sudden, fool, you see me for weeks. You can't ask me. You know what I mean?
You're over there in the corner all hurt.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
definitely a weird experience. The contrast is always very noticeable. Like in comedy circles, most of my friends are straight, like cis men. But outside of comedy, over the last like decade or so, most of my friends have been, in the LGBTQ community. I have a few transgender. You know what I mean? So it's like weird hanging out with that community all the time, and then you go to mics and hear how straight dudes like talk all the time. I'm like, they really are incredibly stereotypical. It's really weird. Like you think it's played up for social media's sake, like for the joke, but it's like, no, that's literally how they think, and it's weird.
Yeah.
I'm the new door guy at the Chatterbox, and my first night was just a couple nights ago, and of course everyone who was coming, because it's not a comedy night that I was working, are just like bar regulars. So they look at me and they think, because I'm just a guy carding them, that I'm straight. So what these straight guys come out drunk from the bar and say to me, I'm like, you guys are wild. Like some guy came out and just like looked back at the women in the bar and then looked back at me, and he said, you ever seen that movie Shallow Hal? And I said, yeah. And he goes, that's all I'm gonna say. And then he just walks off into the night just like all drunk.
Oh my God.
And then some other dude just like, I was just like kind of like zoning out, just looking out at the street. And then there was another dude drunk right here, like right in my ear, and all I hear him say, you ever suck on some fat ass titties? And I was just like, and I was like, yes, I have, but Jesus Christ, like, yeah, you guys are crazy.
You should have been like, yeah, dude, have you ever sucked on some male titties? He's
That's
like,
what I meant.
Fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, but I also get it when I like go out with women friends.
Yeah.
Guys are aggressive towards you because they think you're straight and they think you're with this woman, and sometimes they're like sizing you up, and sometimes like we'll be talking and a guy will try like shoot his shot in the middle of our conversation, really aggressive,
right?
And she's like, I'm in a conversation right now, and I'm just like, this is crazy. And it's wild.
Yeah, straight guys. I started working door at a different place, and like they had like a DJ party night or whatever, And I had a similar thing where like the security guard just came up to me and it was like, when I'm working the door, I don't give a fuck about anything. Like I'm just working, I'm there miserable, like, cause there would even be like times where like women would come up and they'd be like, what's the cover? And I'd be like, $20. And they'd be like, really? Even for women? Or like even for girls? And I'd be like, yeah, I don't set the prices, it's $20, sorry. Like, whatever. But the security guard came up to me at like in the middle of it when it was like at the peak, and he's like, man, all this pussy, and then walked away. I was like, yep, all this pussy. All this. There's no, and also I don't like get dressed to like go like for these. I will go dressed like this and just work the door. Yeah. Like, so I'm not like trying to pick up anybody. Like I don't think about things like that. So it's just like, yeah, what am I supposed to do with that, dude?
Meaning you don't think about it while you're at work?
Yeah, like I don't, like obviously like attractive people come in and like people, like there's drunk people that come and try to flirt with me, but I'm just so like, I'm just working. Yeah. I'm not trying to like, I don't know. It's like, it's a shitty job to have. So it's not like, I don't know. I always think in terms of like that, like I'm a fucking door guy. It's like Felicia Folks had told that joke about how like, she used to be a bank teller and like a man would try to hit on her while she was like working, and she'd be like, I can see your account, dude. It's negative like $35. Yeah, you're negative 35. Well, who's gonna pay for the date? Like kind of a thing. So it's like I'm fucking working the door at some place. Like I'm in no position to like try to like pick anybody up. Yeah. But maybe I'm just not confident enough. I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe it's the shorts.
Yeah.
I know. I wish the audience could. Oh yeah, they can see it. Look at that. Look at that hairy ass leg right there, dog.
Yeah,
Ew.
like that's actually. Is that what you're doing? You're at the door showing off those hairy legs?
No, I don't think of it because I work nights most of the time, so I don't ever really wear shorts. Oh, right. I just wear like my my weight fluctuates. So like my jeans right now are kind of baggy. So I feel like I'm dressed like a fucking middle schooler when I go to work.
But that's like the new Gen Z way to dress, is like dress like you know, like you're like how like whatever your 12-year-old self thought would be cool when you were you know.
That's funny because what's it called?
Say it, fool.
No, this group of white women came in and like they wanted to check out what was happening, but then like when the music started playing, they were like, "Oh no, it's too loud in here." And she was like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm old." And then she goes up to me and she's like, "Enjoy your 20s." And I'm like, "I'm 30, dog." But like I was like,
that's a compliment. People are doing to me that they're coming to me and they're like, I'm asking them for their ID and they're like, "Where's your ID? I look twice as old as you." And then I check their ID, exact same age.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need to stop drinking. Because I do look 30.
Yeah.
You look 45. You need to like lay off of this. And then like Steve was telling me that some people are coming in there with like full on gout and they're like 25.
that's insane.
Yeah.
I feel like some people just need to get a skincare routine together. Like,
Yeah. I mean, some of these guys look in their 40s and they were born in like 1998.
That's wild.
Damn.
You know?
That's bananas, dude. Sorry, I just said
That reminded me of a coworker we worked with, Javi. That dude looked like 45, and I found out he's only like 3 years older than me. And I was 22 at the time. And I was like,
fuck.
Jesus.
Yeah. But also that dude was like always on meth.
Yeah,
So
it's bonkers.
that'll age you pretty quick.
Oh, I got sick from eating a meth addict's asshole in Portland once. Oh, I got sick from it. It tasted clean, but I think there was something going on there. It was either that or bad Thai food, but I'm gonna blame the meth guy's asshole.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to weigh. It's like, was it the like broccoli beef or whatever, or was it this guy's asshole? And it's like, it's probably the asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, probably. Do you think it was because it was a meth asshole or because just...
Yeah, probably.
Well, when you're smoking meth, you don't really care about what's clean. You know what I mean?
It seemed clean.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was like, so maybe it was the Thai food.
I know not what seems, I know what is, dog. You know what I mean? And
No,
that's-
you can't. You know when you're down there.
Yeah.
You're like, is this clean or not? You know, but I don't know.
Some people, like, they just have, like, some weird bacteria makeup or whatever. And, yeah, it could do some strange stuff to you.
Yeah, I
That's
almost died from
disgusting,
it.
dude.
It was bad. I was like
Ew.
really bad food poisoning. You know.
Did you, like... Do you brush your teeth after? Or, like, rinse when you're done?
No. No, I mean I brush my teeth before bed
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
I was thinking,
These are tips that I have just learned recently.
From eating pussy and butthole.
Yeah.
Ew.
Brush your.
I mean, we're talking about it.
No, I'm saying ew because you were doing the eye thing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, I also, like, I feel like I'm at an age, at a time in my life where, like, I'm just, like, I guess experimenting more with different things. And it's like, yeah, I was with somebody, like, a couple years ago that was, like into alternative sex and stuff. And so like that stuff like that was like one thing that I learned about, like, cause she was like, I'm going to wash my hands now. And I'm like in the middle of all of this, but I guess that's,
Wait a minute. So what was she eating your butt?
No,
the gas was so.
No, I fucked up by switching.
oh,
Because
but
I've seen that in porn. Like
What?
the girl does that to the guy, and I'm like, that's the nastiest because straight guy assholes, it's not cleaned out, it's not douched, it's not shampooed like the gay guys will.
I was just about to say that somebody was telling you were the one telling me about this.
Yeah, you gotta. Gay guys statistically, except for that one meth addict in Portland, have way cleaner assholes. Like we will be emptied out
'Cause you're prepared for it.
Yeah, people even have peppermint drops that they put inside their hole so that it tastes like a minty mouth.
Also, because you were telling me about going to parties,
Yeah.
and like the prerequisites for these parties. Of,
yeah.
douching your ass.
Oh
and-
yeah, it's a big thing. Like you will immediately be kicked out.
Yeah.
because you ruin the vibe for everyone.
That's so crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm so vanilla. Oh, that's why we were having this conversation the first
Yeah.
time because
Yeah.
Steve was saying how vanilla I am.
I don't think there's anything wrong with like being vanilla.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's because it's like if that's what works for you, then like that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, some things are fun to try, and then but also like you do enough stuff where you're just like, yeah, it's not for me, dude.
The craziest thing I've ever done in bed is like jump on a bed before sex.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Like
That's the craziest thing you done?
I was naked, just like jumping on a bed, and then we had sex.
Doing the helicopter.
No, I wish it was that big. That was a joke. That's so funny. No, I mean, I don't know. Kind of weird talking about it, but yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I mean, I could see how that's like freeing.
Yeah.
Because I used to be super embarrassed to like even talk about sex, like even with like somebody that I was like dating long term, where it was kind of like it was weird because I at the time like this sounds like psychopath behavior, but I did not like talking during sex. Like I wouldn't say anything.
But that's not psychopath behavior. Psychopaths are really good at being charismatic. So whenever someone is like the coolest guy to you, he's probably a fucking psychopath.
Fuck that. Okay, so I'm super normal now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even like, and then when we were done, it was weird to me. It was like, I didn't want to talk about, not that I was like shamed or embarrassed. I don't know what it was, but it was just like, I could not like talk about like, it was like we had two different like relationships, I guess. It was like our sex relationship and then our like us going to the fucking on a hike.
Yeah.
Like,
So like, is that a straight thing? Cause like, I feel like queer people can talk more about sex and like straight people, both men and women, really get uptight and like tight-lipped about it. Like
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I for sure, because it wasn't until I feel like it wasn't until I started hanging out with like women and queer people that because they talk about like sex all the time. Like
yeah.
It could be like your first time meeting them and they're just like, so have you tried it in the butt kind of a thing. Like that actually happened to me. So
Who asked you that?
This guy, I was working on a movie. I was working on this movie, and also when I was younger, I used to be like very like I had like angular features, and I was like real thin. Yeah. So like it just happened where like everywhere I would go, like gay men would hit on me, and then I remember there's this guy named Andrew who was like. Because everybody that worked there, because one of the owners of the business were gay, so a lot of gay men worked there. Yeah, and then so they hired me, and he like they would talk to me about like sex and stuff, but then like one day he just like outright asked me like, you're gay, right? And I was like, oh no, sorry. And he was like, you're no fun. Like,
well, there are those gay guys who like they have a goal to like turn a straight dude. Yeah. I don't like those guys. Those guys are a little creepy.
Yeah, we were talking about it before.
Yeah.
Where Steve had asked you, he's like, do you think me and Gerard are cute? And you're like, I know you guys are straight, so I don't even
I compartmentalize you into a different, you know. I can think like that's an attractive man, but I'm not feeling like I want to like fuck because I like already put you in a different file in my brain. Yeah. Right. I've never, you know what it is? It's because if a guy is straight, even if I think they're good looking or attractive or whatever, I would never feel comfortable with them in a sexual situation because it seems like they would freak the fuck out and like hurt me or something, you know? Because straight guys are crazy. Like once I went on the road with a comic who I won't name, but who's quite successful, to Utah, and we were like performing at this like comedy festival, and outside a bar, we had just got done with the show, and we were with actually Rachel Mack. She was at the show, and I just gave Rachel a hug, and then I went in to give him a hug, and he fucking like pushed me back off of him, and it was just like a friend hug. Like I've hugged you, Dominic. Yeah. Like, you know, just like I'll see you, you know, whenever I see you, right?
Gross.
But he gave me this push that was crazy. like it was one of those pushes of like he didn't say get the fuck away from me, faggot, but it was like the energy of the foot push was that. And then even Rachel was like, what the fuck? And then the dude immediately was like, maybe he was drunk or something, and the dude was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, dude, I mean, like, Jesus, like he was acting like I was, you know, about to like penetrate him or something like that, you know. But some guys are just not. But then since then, I've been like, is that dude gay? Because you were so afraid of it. If you're not gay, why would you care? You know, I don't know.
I mean, the thing is that idea, like, oh, if you're not gay, why would you care, is a rational thought, but it's not.
Yeah, sometimes it's not true.
Yeah,
the guy isn't gay, you know.
Yeah.
Well, but like that guy caught a vibe, but Jonathan wasn't giving a vibe. Food. Like, why are you catching a vibe if you don't really like, you know, at least have the mental capacity to think that it's a possibility? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like, homophobia is weird to me.
It is super weird
because I was raised to be homophobic, dude.
So was I.
Yeah. I think it's more of a device of being Latino.
No, it's everything.
Yeah.
Almost every culture.
Yeah,
across
like popular
the world.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But almost everywhere, there's like a lot of homophobia. Just like with misogyny, it's like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like Africa, they're destroying the clit. You know, Asia, what are they doing in India? They can like just grab your tits on a train and you have like no legal recourse.
Damn.
That's
crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, like here they're trying to take away abortion. Latin America, you go to, like in El Salvador, you go to prison if you have a miscarriage and they even think it's an abortion, go to fucking prison.
Right.
It's like homophobia is connected to sexism because it's like, if you're a dude who does stuff that is associated with like what women do, like fucking dudes and like into like, you know, feminine things, that's the worst you could be. You're like a fucking woman, right? So it's all connected to like hatred of women. And it's like all about fear of the pussy.
Wow.
That's
I
what
never
it
even
is.
thought about that, dude.
It's kind of gay to be homophobic because it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, so you're scared of pussy is basically what it is. It's like, why would you be scared of me if I'm like a woman but you like to fuck women? You don't need to want to fuck me, but can't you be nice to me? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I've had to come to grips with. More so, well, not homophobia so much as like my opinion of women in a sense.
Yeah.
Where, you are kind of, you know, basically raised to like hate women. In a way. Well, I chalk it up to being Latino because the strong Latino man, the machismo, and the woman doing all the chores at home. And if they don't, then they are, you know, held accountable by the man of the house.
Right. And what's so crazy about machismo is like that was like brought by like the white colonizers. Yeah. Because like in Mexican like indigenous cultures, they had a lot of like other perspectives on like gender and matriarchal societies and they had a different definition of like what manhood was. Yeah. So like it's funny to be like, you know, brown people being all machismo and it's like, but that's not from your indigenous ancestors, that's from your white colonizer ancestors, you know. But you know, no one thinks about that stuff because it's gay. You know, when you think like this, it's gay. Yeah. And people are scared of being gay, you know.
Well, there was this thing, I forgot, the guy, he wrote that book that was all about matriarchal societies or like, I forgot, he was about like, I forgot his name, but he was from like 10 years ago. But he said like that according to studies, like men have more sex in matriarchal societies. So it's like, that's like the major benefit, but they're still too like afraid to like give up their manhood.
Yeah, that makes total sense because when you give women power, they feel less endangered and they're going to be more horny and more feel more safe to have sex with you. But if they feel like, is this dude gonna fucking rape me? They're gonna like try to protect themselves. You know what I mean? Like you do need to give women power, and then they're probably gonna like it and get turned on and wanna have sex. You know?
Yeah. I was. Go ahead, Ron.
No, it just reminded me of this concept I was gonna bring up earlier of like, I seem to do well with the particular kind of group of non-binary femme-presenting people as well as women, and I've come to realize sometimes that it's not necessarily that they find me attractive, it's that I'm not actively being aggressive towards them, and that's like the first time they've experienced that. And so it's just like they have the freedom to be themselves and then they like me better.
Yeah.
And it's just because I'm not being an asshole.
Yeah, no, that's
it's
real.
Weird.
Yeah, it's so funny. I don't know, this all reminded me of like I was watching this porn and one of the comments, so in it this guy like gets his butt licked and then they do the Amazon pose. Do you know what that is?
No, what's that?
So it's like it's
delivering a box to your door. That's stupid. That was a bad joke. That was bad. And you know what? That's okay. So
the smiles for.
It's like, so it's like a guy has to be like on his back with his legs up, and it's pretty much a way for like the woman to like
really get in that crack.
Yeah, but it's like
to save the rainforest. What? Oh, sorry.
So essentially, like he has his legs out like that, and then like his dick is like downward.
Yeah,
and then
I
like
know.
so it's like
I know it very well.
they're still
that position.
penetrating.
Yeah.
But it's so that she can like have control, right? So
Let me write this down real quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like so that she can be like, fuck the
Oh,
dude.
I've seen this. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So his dick is down like that.
And then she's like,
Yeah, and so okay, yeah, I get it.
yeah.
This microphone kind of became my dick. When I did that. I was like, it's part of me now.
Oh man, this whole episode is a left turn for our listeners.
I know, right?
But hey, we talk about everything here.
Yeah.
So. But what was really funny was that so those were the two things, like the Amazon position, and then he was getting his butt licked, and there was so like the comments on this thing. Are filled with guys like he's enjoying that a little bit too much, or like he's sus for liking this position. I'm like, dude, you're watching like another guy, like dude, like watching porn in general is just like you're watching you're like you're a cuck, like you're
watching another guy that's usually more attractive, because they like to say, oh, guys in porn are ugly. No, they're not. They're actually not.
Yeah.
Also, the guy usually statistically has a way bigger cock than the people watching it. So it's like there is something kind of gay going on there. Like, I know that you're watching for the woman, but
yeah, and the whole thing about like
that reminds me of that Ron White joke, right? Do you know Ron White?
Yeah.
He has
I know
a
him
joke.
personally.
No, I know. But he has a joke where he's like, straight guys, every straight guy is a little bit gay. And then his buddy's like, I'm not. And he's like, well, do you watch porn? He's like, yeah. And he's like, when you watch porn, do you watch just two women, or do you watch a man and a woman? He's like, I watch a man and a woman. He's like, do you prefer it when the guy has like an average size guy? He's like, no, I want like a big, meaty. Oh,
Yeah.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was this guy, Gabe Gomez, and sorry, do you want to finish?
No. That's exactly what I was gonna say. So
There's this guy, Gabe Gomez, in high school.
Verbatim.
He had a drinking problem, and come to find out, he came to see one of my stand-up shows, still has it. Shout out if he's listening. Fuck, I'll probably block his name out. Okay. But this guy, I remember it was me and Anthony Lombardo. I was vanilla as fuck at that time too, and they were asking me, like, Gabe was drinking on campus, so he was drunk at school, and Anthony was having fun asking him questions, and he goes, oh, you like porn, right? And Gabe's like, yeah, dude. He's like, do you like dicks in your porn? He's like, that's the only way, you know? And then he started calling him gay, and then Gabe started crying.
Wow.
Yeah.
but that's how fragile like heterosexual like minds
That's
are.
how wild high school is. I can't imagine how it is now with all the acceptance, you know? It probably is a lot better.
I don't even think I think that the media makes it seem like we're living in a world where there's like tons of acceptance.
Yeah.
That's really not
It's
the
not
way.
true,
It's
yeah.
it's not like, I feel like, yeah, maybe there's like a school in Brentwood where there's like, it's cool, you know, but I still think like if you're like a queer kid or a kid who's just going to be like sexually ambiguous in high school, it's still fucking hard because most people are not like that. Like, we love to make jokes being like, everyone's gay now. It's like, they're not. Most people are straight. Most people are cisgendered, and most people are very uncomfortable when someone is like, I'm non-binary and I love, you know, dicks and pussies or whatever, you know, like people are uncomfortable with that, you know, still. I think. Like, look at how many fans like Rogan and that whole type of like comedian has. Those fans, like, they don't like any like trans shit or any, they don't like any of that talk, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like, even, yeah, I mean, it's weird because I don't have to work with people anymore. Like, because before, when me and Ryan were working together, we worked for like a warehouse job, and it's like we were like the only three people that like, me and my two brothers were like the only three people that like cared about like queer rights or like trans rights or any of that stuff, and everybody else was like, that's fucking. I remember I got into a debate with somebody who was upset that they were moving to like take like the sex or the gender off birth certificates.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not a big deal at all. Like, it was just like a weird thing. And he's just like, but if you have a boy, then he's a boy. And if you have and I'm like, but he can, and I was like, but what if they're not? Like, if they decide later? And he's like, well, that's okay. if they decide later, then I'm fine with that, but I'm going to raise them as a boy. Like, and I was like, what makes a boy? Well, like, what to you is a boy? And he was like, well, fucking playing catch and like liking guns and stuff. I was like,
but also, and it's also like, okay, let's say you do have a boy, and he's like, I'm a boy, and he does boy things, and he's like, this is my dick and balls, and I identify as a boy. It's like, you don't need a piece of paper to prove that your son's a boy.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like,
I literally
he's a
asked-
boy, you know.
I asked that guy specifically, if the box never existed in the first place, would you give a shit? He's like, no. Then why are you angry? Because nobody's going to tell me how to raise your kid. Nobody's telling you how to raise your kid.
yeah.
Do it however you
And
want.
they get mad, but statistically, the kid is gonna identify as a boy, and he's gonna be straight.
Yeah.
That's what is most likely gonna happen. There's like not even a thing to worry about. But it's just like, if it's not, this guy's probably gonna freak the fuck out, and he's gonna probably blame the birth certificate. You're gay or you're trans because they didn't. They
It's
like
a
took away the
typo.
box. It's a typo. A typo made
Yeah.
you gay. Like, yeah.
I'm
So-
typo gay.
I'm a type of gay.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask. So when it comes to people obviously not being as progressive as others, and also you're not speaking for the whole gay community. I'm asking for your perspective, right?
Right.
But like it's palpable that there's like an aggressive response, and I can understand why, because people are so aggressive towards women and also the queer people,
Yeah.
right? So maybe it's just like a knee jerk reaction to be just as aggressive back. Do you understand what I'm saying or no?
Yeah. Like, or what are you asking? Like
Death threats if you say anything that's not the norm, kind of thing.
Like, have I received death threats?
No, like more so like people like the Rogan crowd.
Yeah.
When they cite their views, and then
Right.
people are like, "Fucking, we're these guys are trying to kill us."
Right.
The knee jerk reaction to go straight to something that's violent.
Right.
Just like, what's your perspective on it, really?
I think those
Because
people-
I see it like that gay people have been treated a certain way forever.
Yeah.
They've always been marginalized. I guess is that the word?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was raised Republican. No, but like marginalized and also threatened against as far as like violence in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, like we were talking about women, like society hates women.
Yeah.
And I just made the connection when you said it earlier that it's kind of the same thing when it comes to anyone that's queer or gay,
Yeah.
So do you think it's more so of just like, this is the way that I've been treated, this is how I'm going to treat others? I don't even know if I'm making sense. Am I making
Like,
sense?
I don't know what your question is. Like, are you asking me about the violence that's perpetrated against women and queer people?
What I'm saying is like, okay, somebody says something that's a little off color when it comes to the LGBTQ community.
Sure.
Like, for instance, we were talking about earlier, a comedian said that he doesn't believe gay people should have kids.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
There's not really a discussion afterwards. It's more of like a very upset reaction from the community
Right.
towards that.
Yeah.
As opposed to like open a dialogue. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like, okay. I just think that is more about the media than the gay community or the straight community. It's just like how we handle problems now, which is just like so shitty. Like, Mulaney does something, Chappelle does something,
Yeah.
Rogan does something, whoever. Those are just examples. And then the trans community gets upset, or the gay community, or women, or whatever, And it's just because I do think one side just doesn't care. Like, they don't give like Chappelle doesn't give a. Chappelle could watch a transgender woman die in front of him. He would not give a fuck. You know what I mean? He's like, they don't care. So everyone else is just trying to make noise to try to kind of call attention to the fact that, maybe we should stop like supporting this person financially or buying tickets to your shows. But again, it's not really going to work because most people who are fans of those people are already fans of them. They already go to those shows to agree. Like, that's the thing that makes like those people not good comedians anymore, is because they although I'm not lumping in Mulaney in there. I know he just had Chappelle on his show. But they want an audience to come to just agree with them. You know what I mean? And the same happens on, like, there are queer comedians that are like, maybe they're saying all the right things, but they're not funny. You know what I mean? And the same thing happens with their audience, is like they just come to like agree. So I feel like it's just two different camps, like just kind of just going off. You know what I mean? Like, so there isn't a dialogue, but I don't think the intention was ever to create a dialogue, and that's probably a bad thing, you know. But I don't think like for instance, what Chappelle says about trans women, like I don't think his intention was ever to have a dialogue. He just wants to be on stage and say what he has to say, and that's it. Like it was never to have a dialogue, you know. And I don't know, in terms of the violence, like that's obviously fucked up, but humans are fucking violent. You know.
It's so strange because we used to not agree with each other. Like Americans would typically not agree with each other, but they would always come back to the fact that they love America. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about gay people right now. I'm just talking about, you know, more so like the South and North. They hated each other, but they always wanted to be America until Lincoln was, you know, elected, and then the South decided to secede even before he was inaugurated.
Right.
But they all wanted to be American, you know? And now it just seems like there's so much freedom and choice and whatnot that, and also there's a sentiment that everyone hates America. They're anti-capitalist. There's so many anti-things that nobody could really find any unifying force. It feels like at times.
Well, I think one reason that is like, if you use your Civil War example. First of all, at that time, all this part of the country was I think by the time the Civil War happened, we were all just territory. So we weren't even part of the states yet. And it was more Mexican and native here than it was America, like, you know, modern day America, right? So now we've expanded to the West, Hawaii, Alaska, Puerto Rico, Guam or whatever. We're too fucking big. America's like this colonial force that's tried to bring in all these people by force over time, and now we're like all confused why we can't all agree. It's like we don't have the same history, we don't have the same ancestry, we didn't all choose to be a part of this. Like Mexicans didn't like choose to necessarily be a part of America. Like sure, if you came over from Mexico, but it's more complicated than just someone like coming to America from like you know, Belarus or whatever. It's like Mexicans have a deeper connection to the land, you know. So I just think like we're too fucking big, and I think at one point America cannot maintain itself at this size. We just can't. I mean, when I've been to like about 40 of the 50 states, there are some states that I go to where I'm like, I just don't feel like I'm in the same country. Right. You know, and people talk to Californians about like, oh, you must be from California or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I am. It is very different from wherever the fuck you are, you know? We just, it doesn't feel like we don't feel united. It doesn't feel like we're part of the same country. And part of me is kind of like, maybe the solution is that's okay. Maybe we shouldn't be a part of the same country because we're just dragged down by all these fucking, like, for instance, all these rural states that have barely anyone in it. And they're the ones who are having more representation than the states that are more populated, that tend to be more blue politically. It's just, it's fucked up. And I don't know. I don't feel very like nationalistic about America at all. Like, I'm like, I don't give a fuck if I one day end up not being American. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't have any connection to like nationalism or anything, you know?
You want to say something?
Oh no, I mean, well, yeah. to add to that, like, it's weird because the United States is like a weird like experiment almost. I don't know what the word is to say, but it's because it's like, I feel like the United States is the most, even though there's like large swaths of like states that have small populations, I think the United States is the most densely populated country of its size, where it's like the population is spread out. Because like Canada technically has more land mass or whatever than the United States, but everybody, or even Australia, it's like everybody lives along the ridge. And like, so it's not a huge population, but the United States does. So that makes it even harder because it's, when you're thinking about it, it's like people really are spread out from each other, but we're trying to like unify an ideology when it makes it kind of impossible to see unless you do some traveling. And what's really weird about America, the United States specifically, is that traveling is almost like discouraged. Like there's a real pride in being like where you're from and like staying where you're at. And so it's hard for, I think, a lot of people, especially in smaller towns, to like learn outside of what's around them. Like there's people in this country that are just like never going to leave their hometown because that they're content with how it is. So it's easy for like, I know Ryan told me stories about how like he's in a group with people that have never met a person of color until they met him, and because they're on the East Coast. And then so it's like stuff that we bring up about like police brutality, or like they're just like, yeah, I don't really think that's true. Like I don't see it. It doesn't happen to me, so I don't believe it.
Absolutely. Like, sorry, I just wanted. Yeah. My first boyfriend was this white dude from Lansing, Michigan, and it is very segregated there. Like there are black people, but he's like went to the school that was like majority white school or whatever, you know. So when we were dating at the time that like it was like early 2010. So this is like at the beginning of when like Black Lives Matter started to really gain traction. And he was reading on a tweet like the concept of white privilege by it was probably one of the women who started Black Lives Matter who probably tweeted out, right, that he read. And he was like, I just don't think that's true. And I was like, it 100% is true. What are you talking about? And he was like, but I don't think I'm privileged because I'm white. And I was like, yes, it is. What are you talking about? Yeah. And I like just started to kind of explain to him about it. And he fucking started to cry. Yeah. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, relax. It's not that big of a deal. You need to fucking cry, dude. Like, yeah. But he just is from a place. And I went and met his parents and everything. And it's like, oh, fuck. LA is a complete, like, just diverse place that he's just not from that. He's from, like, fucking, you know, a majority white place where everything is just nice for him, you know? So he just doesn't, he literally, his mind was being broken right then, you know? Yeah. And that's the thing about America too, is it's like,
well, I mean, when I brought up the analogy, I didn't mean to say that we're all American. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying the conflict of the Civil War was so crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's a slavery thing, you know? The North didn't want slavery for a long time, but the South was used to the European tradition of slavery. You know, it's where they adopted it from. They wanted to be more European. The North wanted to be more progressive. So there's these two like budding forces, like we're talking about. You know, the anti-trans crowd versus the the LGBTQ community, right?
Right.
The unifying force was America itself.
Right.
They went to war over America. Right. You know. But what is the unifying force now? I'm not really trying to.
I think I heard what you're saying. Yeah. I think so. The thing that I feel like
what is everyone fighting for other than an ideology of them being right? You know?
Well, I mean, I feel like on one side, people are very much just like, yo, we just want to fucking live. Like, do we just want to be able to live our lives and mind our own business, and have like acceptance, you know? And I think the whole thing about because I've heard the argument of people being like, well, why would I want to unify with somebody when like all they want is for me to not exist, essentially. So it's like, how do you have that unification when like there are people that would rather you be dead?
Well, would that be a trauma response rather than like, you know, are these people literally, I mean, you can't really say
both sides say that they're fighting for their rights.
Yeah.
But one side is actually fighting for their rights, and that's the queer side.
Yes.
And the other side thinks that they're fighting for their rights, but in fact, their rights are not being infringed upon at all. They think that someone else's existence somehow takes away rights from them when it's really just their way of life has been altered slightly in order to include other people. Yeah. They're fighting to keep status quo. That's what they're really fighting for. They're fighting to keep their life the same.
Yeah, I agree. They just don't have the balls to say it's gross, you know?
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Most people are just like, gay guys are gross. Like, that's really what it is. And it's like, just,
But to go so far as to just like try to stop it all, it's kind of wild. Yeah.
But they go off into these tangents. They're like, instead of just being like, I just think butt sex with another dude is gross. Yeah. Like you shit from there, that's gross, you know? Yeah. Instead of doing that, they try to go into this whole like, the gays lure children into basements and then they turn them gay, and then the trans people try to rape me, and it's like, that's not happening. It's just, you know, you are just creating this big fucking story, you know?
Yeah, it's wild, dude. Jesus Christ. I don't know if it's the conversation or my bladder, but I have to piss.
All right.
Ryan, any thoughts? Sorry, we've been
No, I mean, I pretty much what Jonathan Dominic was saying. From my perspective, from my experience, it's been, the fight is really just one person saying, I just want to be able to like buy a house and live in it without any issues. And the other one, like one side just wants to exist and the other side kind of, it's more just like they don't want to have to adapt. Yeah. They feel like, and this is why, I say the effort to do something for someone else is never as much as anyone thinks it is. But the idea of having to do something for someone else seems bigger than it is. And so people they think that they have to uproot their entire lives and redo how they think or rethink how they do everything. It's like, no, you don't. Like, I remember explaining to a family member the concept of using they, them. I'm like, you do it all the time without thinking about it. Like, if you've ever, someone walks into a room and asks you, hey, where's your sister? And you say they're in the other room. You do it without thinking, and now you just have to think about it a little bit. It's not actually hard to do.
Yeah. But then you have Ben Shapiro like coming on and telling you that like it's oppressive to force somebody to like speak your own language or something like that.
Oh, I could totally do like if my hair was just a little bit longer, I could totally do a Ben Shapiro cosplay. Just be like, hey guys, so this is the thing. Like he's such a little dweeb.
Gender is a fact.
Yeah.
I've never understood the interest in Ben Shapiro as like a person, because he seems,
to be honest, he seems kind of autistic, right?
No, he does not.
Wait, I'm not making a joke though. I meant that seriously.
I just knew how he was going to take it.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I could see what you're saying about him.
Sorry.
No, I mean, here's what I've noticed about Ben Shapiro is that he's good at debating, but he's bad at arguing. He knows how to as if he was like the captain of the debate team in high school. He knows how to debate, but he doesn't research anything. He doesn't actually give a shit about the things he's opposed to. And so you see these things where he does interviews outside of America and he looks like a fucking idiot because he doesn't actually know what he's talking about.
Well, there's a big part of debating that is you don't have to prove that you're right. You just have to prove that the other person is wrong. So he's really good at doing that stuff. And like there's it sounds ridiculous to say, but I hate when people like their whole arguments are based around logic, because it's like you're creating your own logic. You're creating a logic around your argument to like fortify what your point of view. But it's like if you like poke at it, then it all comes apart. It's really easy to like fortify an argument if like you spend all that time like making it make sense for you. But it's also just like, yeah, I don't know how to explain to you that like my existence is not logical. Like being like, it's not a logical or illogical thing to like be gay or to be trans, but it's like, yeah, what you're saying makes sense, but that's not my life experience. Like my life experience is like, I just want to go to the bathroom. And like,
I don't even think he deals with logic. He just deals with creating. I mean, it's kind of just the same thing you said, like just creating a different. It's a false premise. It's a false narrative,
right?
And he imposes his onto other people, but that is in and of itself illogical. That's why he's good at like pretending and presenting as logical and methodical, and he's not. He is actually a moron. Everything you need to know about Ben Shapiro is when he said, yeah, the woman's vagina doesn't even get that wet. My wife told me that. And it's like, It's like...
his wife is like, I told you, not the world.
It's like, I feel bad for his wife that she just doesn't get wet over Ben Shapiro. And he doesn't even do any work to... It's like, look, I eat trans dude pussy all the time. I can tell you the vagina gets wet if you just put in some fucking elbow grease, dude. Yeah. Like, come on. Like
Ben Shapiro's like, elbow grease, is that what I need?
Yeah. Where do you buy that? Like,
you go that up to your elbows?
That's why it's always, for me, Ben Shapiro debates the way like certain UFC fighters win matches, because like
the technicalities, like
there was a championship match, I think like 2 weeks ago, that me and my dad were watching. Everyone was disappointed in the fight because nothing happened, and one of them won because they got the most contact points and because they got 2 takedowns before it was over. And it was like, so technically this other person might actually be the better fighter, but you won because you knew the rules.
Right.
You know what I mean? You stacked up. It's like the difference between what's the. I'm trying to. I just keep jumping into other analogies. Like I was about to go into Harry Potter, but
who is he debating and where he's actually winning these debates? Like sometimes I feel like with debates, especially like you look at the comments, everyone has a different opinion on who even won. So like, how could you even say who? You know.
He also debates like college kids.
Yeah, they're not actual debates. Like, and a lot of them are decades old. Of like, you know, they listen to his podcast now and they're like, remember that time in 2008 when he like argued with a 18-year-old?
Yeah, that's a good point, because it's like the kid may actually be right, but he just doesn't have experience. Just like
that's like I remember one of the gotcha moments that he's famous for was like someone was talking about institutional racism, and he's like, give me one example, concrete example of institutional racism. And I'm like,
well, no, what he said was, well, what institution, like name the institution.
Yeah. And he was like,
that is racist.
Which also shows that he doesn't even understand the concept that he's talking about.
Right.
Yeah,
he's literally like, what are we supposed to do? Like H&R Block. Like, fucking moron.
Enterprise Rent-A-Car, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that's also the argument is like they know what you mean, but they're trying to fix their arguments so that it makes sense, like what Dominic was saying, because they pretend that the idea of subtlety and nuance don't exist outside of like literature. Like no, like it's no one's gonna say out loud something racist. It's subtle. It's like under the skin of like, you know, they're just not gonna let you have a job, or they're not gonna, you know, give you approval for something you're applying for.
But what's hilarious is having a white guy tell a black or a brown person like, no, I don't think that's the way. Like it's like you're asked, this white guy's asking you, right? Like let's say he was asking you, Dominic, to like give him an example of racism that you've experienced. It's like, it's number one insulting to even have to do that, but also it's like funny because it's like, but you're explaining to him something that he could never understand. You know what I mean? Like, so
I have to go piss so fucking bad.
Go. We'll take. I don't know. This is just like, because you were talking about earlier about like how annoying it was for you for like when a bunch of dudes started talking about like, I feel like I'm an annoying straight guy because like I have been like, I flirt with men and I've been like attracted to men, but like when like the needle hits the record, it's like I can't do this. Like, so it's like I'm a big tease, I guess, which fucking sucks because I always feel like I'm wasting somebody's time. But well, I don't know if you've heard this story. I've told it at the Chatterbox before, and I told it in one of the lives. That's why I got like banned for doing TikTok lives at one point. But like I went to San Francisco because I always say like, no, I'm not gay. I checked. Because I went to San Francisco to see a play and I bought 2 tickets. I was like gonna go. Whenever I get any like tickets to anything, I always get 2 tickets, just in case I could bring somebody. And so I was like trying to find somebody. Didn't happen, but I was all sad because I wasn't with anybody that whole weekend that I was there, and it just so happened that weekend was like the start of Pride in San Francisco. Yeah. So it was just like all the hotels were booked, and it was just like a bunch of queer people, and like I ended up meeting somebody. And we were like flirting with each other, and then he invited me to a party and I went, but it was just like 5 dudes like sitting in a room like waiting for more people to show up. Yeah. And so at the time I was like high and drunk, and I feel like if it had like anything went down, I probably would have went along with it, but like I was starting to sober up, but we went back to my room, and so it was like me and him, and then I had to like confess like, I'm actually straight. I've never done this before. And like, he was very like nice about it. Yeah. But he got on top of me. We were just like wearing our boxers, and he like got on top of me. As soon as like he sat on me, and I felt like the heat
of his cock,
of his butt. Oh. I was like, nope. Yeah. I can't do this.
You're straight. That's fine.
Yeah. And then I was like, this fool's just annoyed as fuck with me right now.
Probably. I mean, maybe he was nice. I would have been annoyed, but whatever. I mean, that happens. It's just like, but also, you know what? I don't even think you should feel bad, because if that was San Francisco during Pride, he can find another gay dude in like 5 minutes just going out on the street. Like he'll be fine. You know what I mean? And it's also San Francisco, so it's like, you know, it's not like, I feel like if you did that in like, you know, shit nowhere, Iowa, it would be like, you really screwed up this guy's year. Like he really thought, yeah, you guys were gonna move in together.
Yeah,
like
his only chance.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What's your definition of promiscuity?
Just like fucking a lot, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So promiscuous is not something negative in a way.
No, I don't think it's anything negative. Although when I was like looking up like a lot of mental illnesses, a lot of them are like very, very promiscuous, you know.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're mentally ill. It just means you like to fuck. But
Yeah.
I think mentally ill people just get horned up more.
Yeah.
You know.
There's like a lot of. It's so funny that you brought this up. There's like actually a lot of correlation between neurodivergency, mental illness, and just a higher sex drive. Some of it is bad. It's related to trauma, but some of it is also just like someone who becomes more self-aware earlier on, and it just like affects like it. They don't think of it as a big deal because that's the thing is sexual things aren't a big deal until you're told they're not. You know what I mean? Like you don't know the thing you're doing is bad until like someone catches you and like you're not supposed to do that. And then all of, that fuels how you think about that thing from then on. And so there's tons of people that just like, no one ever told them it was a thing. So it just, they developed mentally in that aspect, like more comfortably because they never had those restrictions on themselves.
Like, would you be like,
I think what I'm asking is if it's a relative thing or just a blanket term.
I never have had sex with my relatives, but
like relative to maybe your own experience. Like, let's say me, the definition of promiscuity may be different because of how little sex I have with different people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
know?
Yeah, no, it definitely it's relevant. You know,
Yeah.
like you just said earlier. Oh wow, 52 dicks is a lot of dicks.
Dick, dude, yeah.
It's like I'm like, yeah, but Steve is like old, so it's not that many dicks. And also, I don't know if that's the number, but I'm sure he's sucked dicks at least 52 times. It's probably just been the same dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's like once a week.
For a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what would be a promiscuous straight? Like, what's a promiscuous straight guy? Like, do you guys know straight guys that are like, this dude just gets laid a lot?
Yes.
I feel like
what's promiscuous for that?
I feel like, I guess for me, it would probably be like somebody that maybe hooks up. I would say at least three different people a month.
Oh,
Which is like, I feel like that's pretty low. But I don't know.
I would define,
Go ahead.
in my opinion, promiscuity to me is maybe like giving the full context of what your recent past is. Let's say Dominic is a fucking go-getter, right? And he's willing to say whatever, right? Like he's willing to say whatever to sleep with a woman. And he gets those things, so it's not really the proper consent, I guess you could say, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Kind of like a pickup artist.
Yes. That, in my opinion, is promiscuous. It doesn't really matter the amount of times you have sex, just the tactics in which you use to get sex. Like, sex is the most important thing to you.
Oh, yeah, like okay.
It's a goal to have sex instead of something that just happens.
Yeah.
I kind of get it.
Like the Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
Oh, to be honest, that's interesting because I've never thought of it that way. I thought it was just like, how much are you having sex or trying to have sex, but it's not really like your tactic. You know what I mean? Obviously, like, don't rape anyone, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I thought it was. Just like, how much are you getting it in? But maybe not. So like, oh no, but that's also, and I mean with different people. That's what I mean. Because if you're with the same man or woman or person, see, it is annoying. I get that it's annoying to adapt and say they or person, but just do it. Like, it's not a big deal. Then like you could be fucking technically more than someone who's like single and out fucking a lot of other people who, only gets like 7 people that month, right? But if you're fucking your girlfriend, 27 times, then you're less promiscuous, but you're fucking more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I do feel like promiscuous has a negative connotation to it.
Yeah, I think it always has.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I've not ever since Nelly Furtado released that song for our people, sluts.
Yeah.
That's really the community I identify with is sluts. I'm fine with the label. Although lately I've not been promiscuous at all because of the monkeypox.
Oh yeah,
guys, I cannot die of something named monkeypox.
I heard it's
not
like
gonna happen. So
it's prevalent in the gay community, right?
Of course, yeah. We fuck more, disease spreads more.
Damn.
That's just the way it is.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck to die from monkeypox.
Yeah,
that'd be so. If that does happen at my funeral, permission to roast. Like you just gotta roast it.
I don't even think I would hate dying from monkeypox. I would hate living with monkeypox, dog. Like having bumpy ass skin, dude. That's
I would still be showing up to the Chatterbox open mic. What's up, guys? Just monkeypox everywhere.
You're like, I'm just the elephant in the room. No, I did not fuck a monkey, dude.
Yeah, that's. I think the word promiscuity, I guess it just depends on how you feel about the activity. Like, because I feel like the word definitely has a negative connotation, but it's also just like, is it a if that's a word that you use to identify a certain type of person that does, like, because like there's people that just like to fuck and like that are not like shitty people that's just part of their lifestyle.
Yeah.
But then there are people that are like kind of how you're explaining, where it's like any tactic, like they're kind of sly about it. Like they're like, I mean, when I was a kid, not a kid, but when I was like young in my early 20s, I had a friend who used to say, let's go scam on some women.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a shitty thing to do and say.
Yeah.
And that's like a shitty mindset to have. But if like you're out and like you could feel it, especially now that like I work at like a club kind of a place where it's like you see it happen. It's like a dance, like you see like a mating dance happen. So I guess it just depends on like if you use that word, because like people are reclaiming words like slut and taking away the negative connotations, but there are still shitty people.
Yeah, I think maybe just like hook up with like other promiscuous people. If they know that you're just like, I want to fuck, are you cool with that? That's cool. But if you're like lying to someone, then that's shady for sure, and it like happens less in the gay world because gays are just like more promiscuous, but it does happen because it's like there are gay guys who have like asked me like, how many people do you sleep with? Do you sleep with a lot of people? And I'll just be like, yeah, I do. Are you okay with that? And sometimes they're not okay with that. And it's like, that we're about to have sex now. I mean, are you, sorry that you don't have sex with as many people? Like they're looking for someone else that is not as promiscuous because they feel safer or whatever. But
there's been many jokes made about it, but there is like an awkward thing that happens after. I'm a straight guy, so obviously I'm talking about sex with women. But there's something, and maybe you could comment on it, what it is with men,
Yeah.
But whenever I have sex with a woman for the first time, right, there's this odd feeling afterwards where it's like, is this ever going to happen again? Because of those promiscuous types, in my opinion,
right?
That utilize these things that people actually do say and come from a real place, but they use those things as tactics in order to get into the pants,
right?
Yeah.
Promising more than they even want. Yeah, for sure. That can happen with gay guys. It's just less common. Yeah. It's a type of gay guy that is more like into monogamy, into being heteronormative, and like.
Oh yeah, we talked about that before too. The monogamy of gay men.
Yeah, there's a lot of gay men who are like, I am monogamous with, but most gay men are not. You know, most gay men are open. Which I think is better, is healthier. It's more realistic. Like guys are just not gonna. Sorry, this is just what I think. Like most guys are just not programmed to just have sex with one person forever.
Yeah,
it's just
Yeah, I agree.
And I think also the same with women too. I just think that maybe they don't like to admit it as much because there's more to risk if they do.
It's so crazy to learn how horny you really are.
Yeah.
Like I remember when you know what I'm saying?
I know I'm not laughing at you.
Yeah.
I think what you just said makes a lot of sense, but it's like, it is it's an interesting thought to have that I'd never considered.
Yeah.
Like when you see it all like a stat sheet. Like,
yes. Yeah. Like what I was commenting on earlier about like my views of women before maybe sobriety or whatever it was that changed or opened my eyes to how I view women.
Yeah.
Before I would have like this fucking crazy guilty conscience about having sex after the fact.
Like you did something to her?
Like I thought she was somebody different. You know what I mean?
Oh, and then once you had sex with her, now you look at her as like, oh, you're not as...
Due to how horny I was. The horny dude was just like... You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that happened.
Because that song's used in those moments in movies when someone's attracted to someone else. Whoa.
I am so horny and I want to fuck.
That's what the song's about.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Probably.
Probably. What song is it about?
Whether the
horny?
writer knows it or not, that's what it's about.
What should we call this? Horny-issimo or Pride-Isimo?
Horny Pride.
Horny Pride-Isimo.
Horny Pride, yeah.
Dixissimo.
Dixissimo.
But I do think having a lot of sex though with a lot of different people does make you better at sex because each person is different. You need to learn how to adapt to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I've like sometimes I think it's like comes off as like people think I'm trying to be cool when it's like I fuck a lot, I'm promiscuous. And it's like that actually means I've had a lot of bad sex, a lot of bad or mediocre sex because you have to do that in order to like find out what you like, get better, you know. Once this guy's ass was just so big and luscious and it's like I just couldn't handle it and I just like came before even going inside.
What?
Yeah, and I just couldn't handle it. And it's like that was probably bad.
That's
but he was really
hilarious.
nice and then we ended up fucking 2 hours later. But like it was still like I was so surprised at the ass and then I was just like I'm gonna bust. I can't help it, you know.
Did you happen to be on any drugs at the time?
No, you know what it was? We had a lot of cantaloupe
Okay.
and cantaloupe has an enzyme that makes you like more sensitive.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, and I saw his little head poke out from, you know, behind his big ass and he was like it's a cantaloupe. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, he was nice about it. He said he thought it was cute or whatever.
Yeah.
Just because I was also I was like, I saw your ass and sorry that I just came.
I mean, that's a pretty nice compliment, I feel like.
Yeah, but it was like bad for him because like he didn't come and he, you know, it was bad sex, you know, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I guess if you're also, I don't know. So what is like the etiquette around like, I guess like how long is your like when you hook up with somebody, like how long is the interaction? Like, or do you like stay over? Do you just like as soon as you
Depends on the vibe, depends on the guy. If you guys are really clicking, then it could turn into like, yeah, stay over, breakfast the next day or whatever, you know. If most of the time it's like an hour or two of just being in the same space and then you go tops,
Yeah.
you know.
So I could see how that might be annoying then. Because I would feel like, oh, if that happened, then it would just like you just try again in a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, he made and it depends on the other person's reaction. He had a cool reaction where he said, "Oh, that's cute," and he was like, "Yeah, I got a big ass," and then he was like, let's order some food," and we ordered some food, and then we had sex. You know, that's the right which meant he wanted to have sex with me. Other guys would get fucking mad at that, like they would just be like, well, get the fuck out or whatever, because they just wanted to get it in. They didn't want to, you know, hang out.
I had this imagery in my head of two gay Latino men in the next morning being like, ¿Quieres huevo con weenie?
That actually did happen. He was a Mexican dude from Zacatecas, but he grew up here.
But did he make huevo con weenie the next morning?
No, he made chilaquiles, or no, sopitas. That's what he made. He made sopitas.
And then being like, yes, and then he starts cooking, and you're like, oh.
That's not the huevo con weenie I was hoping for.
I knew that's the joke you were making.
And it's the same like with, I mean, it's probably the same with straight people. It's like some people like sexually it just doesn't match up, like it doesn't feel the best. Some guys like, you're just like, why this hole just doesn't feel good, it feels like, you know. And then other times it's like, yeah, we just like fit together so well, you know.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's the same with straight people, right?
I mean, I definitely have had experiences where I'm just like, why did I work so hard to get here? And it's like, I could have just not done this.
Yeah, it's like awkward. You're not connecting. Or, yeah.
And it's nothing. I mean, sometimes it's probably on me, but I would say it's like it's nothing on either person. It's just like, yeah, like it doesn't click.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's also weird for me because it's like I don't do that. I don't hook up with people all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's usually like I'm
conceding
I'm
your
sure
eyes.
you could tell.
You're like a haunted stare when I see you.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like, so when it does, I think that there's, I don't want to say more pressure, but there is that like a heightened sense of like make a count kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say, for whatever reason, I thought you were gonna be like, there's this higher presence of like Wreck-It Ralph. You know what I mean?
Wreck-It Ralph.
That's what you call your dick. Yeah. Wreck-It Ralph.
All right.
I'm going to wreck, like you saying right before you start.
Yeah.
All right. We good. We did like an hour 30 today. Dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was good. How did you guys feel?
How did you feel, John?
I have a lot of notes, so we'll get to it.
Post show.
Yeah.
Do people call you John?
You can call me John. Yeah.
I just did that when
people do. Yeah.
I've never called you John before. I only said Jonathan.
Yeah. Most people will like switch back and
John
forth.
with no H or with an H?
No H. Yeah.
No H.
No H. Yeah. Yeah. Jon.
Jon. Dang.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what should they comment if they made it this far, Ryan?
Send your hate mail to at Jonathan Cerda-Rowell on Instagram.
What do you call it? No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I don't know. I normally I have a thing by now.
What's the most luscious butt you've ever seen?
Let's go around the room.
Me? What's
Yeah.
the most? I mean, what's my girlfriend, dude?
That's a good answer.
Yes.
I was like, if he does not say that, that's
I mean, that's the
a
honest answer.
mistake.
I really thought about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't have.
Just say your girlfriend. Nobody knows.
My girlfriend.
Ryan? Oh, it's mine. I know.
No, that was rude. I'm sorry.
I don't have an ass, dude. It's okay.
I mean, I can't. All I can say is like a dude. I don't remember their name. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Jonathan?
This dude in 2015 in San Francisco in the Haight-Ashbury.
It was a Thursday.
It was actually a Tuesday. I remember. I was on the road with Simon Gibson and Pat Reagan. We were like doing a DIY tour, and I was like staying with one of Rachel Mack's friends. And I remember like getting on an app and seeing this like chubby cute guy, and he like lived across the street, and he was like, I can't bring you in because my parents are staying with me, because it was around the holidays. And so we like fucked in the stairwell, and it was like a stormy night. It was like one of the like erotic novels that I would read, you know. It was like a stormy night, and he had just like the biggest, most like jiggly, it was like the most perfect ass ever. Yeah.
Jiggly is such a strange word, dude.
Well, you want an ass to have some jiggle. You don't want it to be like completely hard and muscular, but you also don't want it to be like flobbity and, you know.
Hey, I'm right here with you, dude. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm saying the word itself is like
Would wobble be better?
wobbly.
A wobbly
Yeah.
ass.
But I ended up giving him, well, we fucked the next night too. But then when I got back to LA, I like got this like text from him, and it just said, it's like in all caps, and it was like, you gave me gonorrhea. And I was like,
Oh, jeez.
and I was like, sorry. Like, I was like, you could just go and get that fixed. But he was
Yeah.
so pissed, you know.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. If you can, please rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We just hit 700 Spotify reviews.
Oh, hell yeah.
And thank you very much. Join us on Patreon for $2 a month. You get an episode every week. For $5 a month, you join our Discord. And for $20 a month, you become a producer of the show, a jarito, if you will, who is actually laying down on my bed right now.
Yeah. He had a wild night.
Yeah. No, he didn't. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And from us at Isimo Studios, don't fly.
Don't. Fuck, I forgot it. I say it every time. It's to my podcast.
You have one fucking job, dude.